Tom, my husband, callously told me to stop being so dramatic and said I knew this was coming, as he stood in our living room with a smirk, looking at a photo album I had spent weeks putting together. He flipped through the album, 25 years of marriage condensed into a pathetic little book. He said, I watched as he carelessly bent the corners of the photos I had arranged. Each photo was a memory of our life, from our wedding day to our first home and family gatherings. But Tom didn't know that the album held something more valuable than memories. He then closed the album with a snap and admitted, since we're being honest, he had been having an affair with Jessica, his young, ambitious intern for 8 months. Tom said she was everything I used to be and gestured to his packed suitcase, saying he was leaving tonight. He said they would be staying at the Grand Vista Hotel until they found a place. I had suspected their affair after noticing his late-night meetings and the new perfume scent on his clothes. But I had kept quiet, waiting for the right moment. I responded calmly, despite my trembling hands. That's quite the announcement, ... and on our anniversary, no less. Tom laughed, the sound echoing in the high-ceilinged living room, and mockingly said, oh, come on, don't tell me you actually expected me to celebrate? He called me desperate for making the album and the dinner reservations at Lorenzo's. I stood up from the couch, smoothing my emerald green dress. The one he had said made me look old. I walked over to him and took the album, saying, you're right. About one thing ... this evening isn't going as planned. Tom's eyebrows raised as he asked what I was doing. I smiled and said, taking back what's mine, because he wouldn't need these memories anymore. What Tom didn't know was that between the photos was the key to my future and the end of his comfortable life. I had known about his affair for months, but that wasn't what had kept me up at night. I had received news that would change everything just a week ago. My hands trembled as I held the album, remembering checking my lottery numbers and realizing I had become a multi-millionaire. I still remember sitting at the kitchen table at 3 a.m., double and triple checking the numbers under a dim light, afraid to breathe or believe it was true. The first person I called was not Tom but Eleanor Wilson, the most respected financial advisor in Palm Springs. We spent 3 days meticulously planning and securing my future, and everything was set up in my name, protected by a team of lawyers specializing in lottery winners. The trust was secure, the account was ironclad, and my future was carefully mapped out. I had even started looking at beachfront properties in Malibu, dreaming of a fresh start away from the desert and the memories. You know what's funny, Tom? I said, running my fingers along the album's spine. I always thought it would hurt more ... discovering your affair ... watching you leave ... but somehow it doesn't. I thought about all the signs I'd ignored over the past 8 months, the late nights, the secret phone calls, and the mysterious weekend conferences that never had any paperwork. Tom paused by the door, his hand on the suitcase handle, and said, don't tell me you're having some sort of emotional breakthrough. His tone was mocking, but I noticed a hint of uncertainty in his eyes. For 25 years, he had been able to read me, but now, for the first time, he seemed unsure of what he saw. Actually, I've had quite a few breakthroughs lately, I said as I sat down at our antique desk, the one he had insisted we buy, putting us further into debt. I thought about the moment I decided to create the album, carefully selecting photos to hide my secret between the pages. Tom's phone buzzed, and he looked at it, smirking. That's Jessica ... she single quotes as waiting downstairs. He straightened his blue silk tie, the one I had given him for Christmas, and said, I'll have my lawyer contact you about the house and assets ... try not to make this messy. Kathleen ... it single quotes as better for everyone if we handle this like adults. I nodded, watching him fidget with his watch, probably calculating how much he could get in the divorce and how he would maintain his lifestyle with Jessica. Little did he know that in exactly 3 minutes, his entire plan would crumble. The proof of my fortune was nestled safely between the pages, waiting to be revealed. Before you go, I said, opening the photo album again, there's something you should see. I carefully took a document from between the pages of our Hawaiian vacation photos, the last trip we had taken together. Tom had spent most of the trip texting Jessica while pretending to answer work emails. The paper was crisp and official looking. I held it delicately, watching Tom's expression shift from impatience to curiosity. He asked what it was, and with a dry laugh, he said, "Another marriage counseling brochure." "I think we're past that point, don't you?" "Actually," I replied, standing up straight, channeling the confidence that had been growing inside me since last week's discovery. "It's something much more interesting. You see, while you were busy planning your new life with Jessica, I was busy too." I unfolded the document slowly and deliberately. The California State Lottery Commission letterhead gleamed under the living room lights. Tom's eyes narrowed as he tried to read it from where he stood. "What are you playing at, Kathleen?" His voice had lost its mocking edge. 7 days ago, I won the lottery, Tom, $98 million to be exact. After taxes, it comes to a little over $60 million. I watched the color drain from his face. The funny thing is, according to California law, lottery winnings acquired before divorce proceedings begin are considered separate property. His suitcase hit the floor with a thud. "You're lying," he whispered, but his eyes were fixed on the official seal, the verification codes, and the amount spelled out in bold black letters. "I'm not. I've already met with financial advisors, lawyers, and investment specialists. Everything's been processed and secured. The money's mine, Tom. All of it." He took a step toward me, then another, his face a mix of shock and desperation. "Kathleen, honey, let's talk about this. You know I still care about you. Maybe I've been a little hasty. A little hasty." I interrupted, my voice steady. "Like when you booked that romantic weekend in Santa Barbara with Jessica. Or when you used our joint account to buy her that diamond bracelet." His phone buzzed again. Jessica was still waiting downstairs, probably wondering what was taking so long. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was about to get a very different version of Tom than the one she'd been expecting. "You can't do this to me," he said, his voice cracking. "We're married. I have rights." I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in years. "Actually, Tom, I can, and I am. Jessica's waiting for you." "You shouldn't keep her waiting. After all, to have an exciting new life to begin." Tom spent the next hour trying to salvage what he could from his plans. His transformation was almost fascinating to watch. His disdain melted into desperate charm, and his smirk softened into what he probably thought was an endearing smile. "We can work this out," he said, pacing the living room. "Think about it, Kathleen, 25 years of marriage. That means something. We've built a life together." He gestured around our home, the one he'd mortgaged twice, without telling me to cover his gambling debts. "Sure, I made some mistakes with Jessica, but that was just. It wasn't real. You single quotes re my wife." I sat calmly, still holding the photo album. "Your wife. Funny, you didn't seem to remember that an hour ago when you were calling me pathetic." His phone had buzzed at least a dozen times. Each time, he glanced at it nervously before declining the call. "I'll break it off with her right now," Tom declared, reaching for his phone. "I'll call her up here, and you can watch me end it. Would that help? Would that prove I'm serious?" I shook my head, almost pitying him. "You really don't get it, do you? This isn't about Jessica. It single quotes as about 25 years of manipulation and disrespect. The lottery just gave me the freedom to finally see it clearly. That's." When his tone changed, the desperate charm vanished, replaced by something darker. "You think you can just walk away after everything I've done for you?" He stepped closer, looming over me. "I made you who you are. Before me. You are nothing. Just some small-town girl with big dreams and no direction." I remained seated, refusing to be intimidated. "And now I'm a small-town girl with $60 million and a very good lawyer. I'll fight you for every penny," he snarled. "I'll drag this out for years. You think you can enjoy your millions while I'm dragging you through court?" Actually, I reached into the album and pulled out another document. My lawyers have already prepared everything. They've documented your affair, your gambling, the money you've stolen from our accounts. They even have receipts for all the gifts you bought Jessica with our joint credit card. How do you think that will look to a judge? The color drained from his face again. His phone buzzed one final time, and this time, when he looked at it, I saw fear in his eyes. The message preview was visible even from where I sat. What's going on up there? My father's waiting at the restaurant with the investor. We're going to lose everything if we don't show up now. I smiled, understanding dawning. Let me guess. Jessica's single quotes as father was going to invest in your new business venture. The one you've been embezzling company funds to start. Tom stumbled backward, collapsing onto our Italian leather sofa. Another extravagant purchase he'd insisted on. How did you double quotes? His voice trailed off as I pulled out yet another document from the album. It's amazing what people will tell you when they think you're just a harmless housewife, I said, smoothing the paper on the coffee table. Like Amanda from your accounting department. She single quotes has been concerned about those irregular transfers for months, but you kept dismissing her warnings. She was quite relieved to finally share her documentation with someone who would listen. You've been investigating me? His face contorted with rage. You had no right. Actually, as your wife and a shareholder in the company, I had every right. The board of directors thought so too when my lawyers presented the evidence last week. They're meeting tomorrow morning to discuss your position, though I suspect that discussion will be quite brief. His phone buzzed again. This time, he answered it, hands shaking. Jessica. I can't make it. Something single quotes s come up. He winced, holding the phone away from his ear as angry accusations poured out. Finally, he hung up, looking deflated. You've ruined everything, he whispered. Double quotes. No, Tom, you did that all by yourself. I just refused to play along anymore. I stood up, walking to our floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city lights. You know what the funny thing is? If you'd just been honest. If you'd asked for a divorce like a decent human being, I probably would have shared some of the lottery money with you. Not half, but enough. And now you get nothing. I turned back to face him. Well, not exactly nothing. You get to keep all the consequences of your choices. The board will be pressing charges for the embezzlement. By the way. They single quotes re particularly interested in those offshore accounts you thought nobody would find. Tom's face went from red to pale and back again. He lunged for the photo album, probably hoping to find more documents he could destroy, but I'd already removed everything important. What remained were just photos, memories of a life that no longer existed. You calculated. Manipulative. Double quotes. He cut himself off, realizing the irony of his accusation. I learned from the best, I replied calmly, though I have to thank Jessica too. If she hadn't been so eager to brag about your plans together at her yoga class, I might not have discovered the embezzlement so quickly. Her friend Olivia was very chatty after a few glasses of wine. The truth was finally dawning on him. Every careful plan he'd made, every scheme he'd constructed, was crumbling. He wasn't just losing his comfortable life with me or his future with Jessica. He was losing everything. The police will be here soon, I added, checking my watch. Amanda filed the official report this afternoon. I'd suggest using this time to call a lawyer. A criminal defense one. You single quotes re going to need it. A sharp knock at the door made Tom jump. His eyes darted around the room like a trapped animal searching for an escape route. That'll be Detective Harrison, I said, walking calmly to answer it. He's been very interested in those offshore accounts. Wait. Tom grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in painfully. We can work something out. I single quotes I'll sign whatever you want. Divorce papers, a confession about the affair. Anything. Just don't do this. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back at his face. Remove your hand, Tom. Now. The knock came Again, more insistent this time. Tom released me, stepping back. You don't understand. There are other people involved. Powerful people. If this gets out. Oh. I know all about your powerful people, I replied, straightening my sleeve. Like Michael Anderson, who's been helping you hide money through his shell companies. He rolled over on you 3 days ago. Turns out he's more afraid of federal prosecution than he is of you. Tom's face went ashen. That's impossible. Michael would never. He did. Right after the FBI showed him proof that you were planning to pin everything on him. I smiled slightly. Your text messages were very enlightening. You really should have been more careful with your phone password. 1,234 isn't exactly Fort Knox. The knocking had become pounding. Mr. Thomas Wilson. Police. Open the door. Tom made one last desperate attempt. Think about what this will do to your reputation. Everyone will know you sent your husband to prison. Is that what you want? To be known as the vindictive wife who. I interrupted. Who helped uncover millions in corporate fraud? Who protected innocent investors from a scam artist? Yes, I'm comfortable with that reputation. I opened the door to reveal Detective Harrison and two uniformed officers. He's all yours, Detective. I believe you'll find his phone particularly interesting. He was just about to delete some incriminating messages, Tom's face contorted with rage as the officers approached him. You planned this whole thing. The photo album. The anniversary dinner. It was all a setup. Actually, the lottery win was pure luck, I said, watching as they handcuffed him. But everything else. Yes, I planned it. Carefully. Consider it 25 years of investment finally paying off. As they led him toward the door, he turned back one last time. What about Jessica? Are you going to ruin her life too? Jessica made her own choices, I replied. But don't worry, she's already received copies of your texts with Michael Anderson, including the ones where you called her a useful idiot who would take the fall if anything went wrong. I imagine she's rather busy right now. Probably talking to her own lawyer. I watched as they escorted him out, his shoulders slumped in defeat. The photo album still lay on the coffee table, filled with memories of a life that had been built on lies. But I didn't need those memories anymore. I had something better. A future of my own making. 1 year later, I sat in my new Malibu beach house, watching the sunset paint the Pacific orange and gold. The sound of waves had replaced the desert winds of Palm Springs, and the salt air had washed away the last traces of my old life. The media circus following Tom's arrest had been intense but brief. Corporate fraud rarely holds public attention for long, especially when bigger scandals emerge. Tom had taken a plea deal, agreeing to testify against his co-conspirators in exchange for a reduced sentence. 8 years instead of 20. Jessica had fled to Arizona after the scandal broke, her dreams of being a wealthy executive's wife shattered. I picked up the morning's paper. Another article about the case, this time praising the whistleblowers who'd exposed the fraud. My name was mentioned along with Amanda from accounting as key figures in uncovering the scheme. But that wasn't the story that interested me. Instead, I focused on the business section, where my new charitable foundation was featured. The lottery money had given me freedom, but it was the foundation that gave me purpose. We specialized in helping women escape financial abuse, providing resources and support for those trapped in situations similar to what I'd endured. Every success story felt like a personal victory. My phone buzzed. A text from Eleanor Wilson, my financial advisor. The foundation's latest investment had paid off handsomely, meaning more money to help more women. I smiled, thinking about how far I'd come from that night with the photo album. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else's life. It's about building your own better than ever. Last week, I received an unexpected letter from Tom. The prison envelope sat unopened on my desk for days before curiosity went out. Inside, I found pages of apologies, explanations, and pleas for forgiveness. He'd found God in prison, he wrote. and wanted to make amends. He also mentioned hearing about my foundation's success and suggested that perhaps we could work together once he was released. I had to laugh at his predictability. Even behind bars, he was still looking for angles, still trying to scheme his way into money. I shredded the letter without responding. That evening at a charity gala for the foundation, I found myself sharing this story with James, a widowed investor, who'd become a major donor to our cause. His genuine laugh matched mine, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he shook his head in disbelief. "Some people never change," he said, offering me a glass of champagne. "But others ... He gestured around the room, where dozens of women who'd escaped similar situations were now thriving, many running their own businesses, others transformed completely." "Speaking of transformation," I replied, "remember that photo album that started all this?" I finally found a good use for it. I donated it to a museum's exhibition about financial fraud and domestic abuse. The album sat in a glass case, its pages open to show the hidden compartments where I'd stored the evidence. Below it, a plaque read, "Sometimes the strongest chains are the ones we think we can't break." James raised his glass to breaking chains and building bridges. I added, thinking of all the women we'd helped and all those still to come.